Hello, curious minds, and welcome back to another episode of Naked Nuclear, where we are zooming into the surprising hands-on world of nuclear energy. If you've spent this season with us, you know that we've been talking about nuclear education, and we've been doing deep dives on PhD programs and nuclear engineering students. And you might wonder, what if I don't want to spend a decade in grad school? Remember Rebecca Steinman during our Nuclear 101 episode? That there are hundreds of good jobs beyond the control room? Or when Kelly Davis, program director at Cape Fear Community College, described their 2-year nuclear maintenance program, paving the way into lab and operations roles? That's the spirit we're capturing today. Practical, well-paid careers that you can dive into without a doctorate. Today, we'll explore 4 essential trades that help us create and maintain nuclear power plants. 1. Commercial diving. 2. Concrete masonry. 3. Pipe fitting. 4. HVAC. And for each one of those, we'll try and cover what the job is and where you can find them in the US. Plus, some real-world challenges and who might thrive in that role. Training pathways, length, and cost. Salary ranges. And here's a note on salary ranges. They vary. The salary ranges that we have are from anecdotal data as well as what we found on the internet. They can be higher or lower than what we've described here. So my advice is try and find someone to talk to specifically to know what the salary range might be for the role that you're considering in your region with your experience and know what the demand is. We're also going to be covering union versus non-union work, typical project and a day in the life, plus key professional associations. So grab your coffee, put on your safety glasses, and let's dive in. First, commercial diving. Commercial diving is highly technical diving. It can also be classified as a highly specified form of HAZMAT diving, focused on underwater work in irradiated environments. But not all nuclear commercial diving is within irradiated environments. You might suit up on the Columbia River to inspect reactor cooling tunnels in Washington, clear debris from intake screens at Florida coastal plants, or repair submerged concrete in inland facilities along the Tennessee Valley. Unlike typical offshore dives, these jobs demand both advanced diving skills and radiological safety expertise. Here's a brief history. The roots of nuclear diving trace back to the 1950s and 60s, when the British Royal Navy first trained divers to maintain and inspect nuclear submarines at Devonport, pioneering radiation-resistant gear and strict dose monitoring protocols. Those early lessons laid the groundwork for today's nuclear site practices, where controlling contamination and tracking exposure are as vital as mastering your buoyancy. Real-world challenges. First, radiation control. Divers wear electronic dosimeters to measure the amount of radiation they're exposed to. Thermal stress. Enclosed cooling tunnels can climb over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Chilled water undergarments inside dry suits counteract that heat buildup. Low visibility and current flow. Silt-laden water and strong currents test your navigation and communication skills. Before each dive, teams map radiation hotspots, rehearse emergency accident drills, and synchronize topside to underwater communications. So, would you like this role? If you're calm under pressure and you think you can work alone in the dark, blindfolded, underwater, 30 feet down, and still crack a joke through your comms mic, this blend of high-stakes teamwork and technical challenge might be made for you. So, what's the training and cost? Many of these programs last about 12 to 15 weeks and are held at schools like the Diver Institute of Technology or the Pro Diver School. They can cost up to $20,000. Certifications can be obtained through the Association of Diving Contractors International. Salary? Most of the salary ranges between $40,000 and $90,000 annually. However, there is anecdotal evidence to show that there might be roles up to $170,000 a year. Union versus non-union. Large nuclear site contracts usually go through marine trade unions or ADCI-affiliated companies. Many divers also work as independent contractors on short-term projects. Project length. On short assignments, these are week-long intake screen cleanups. On long outages, these are multi-week support during refueling and maintenance cycles. What does a day in the life look like? A day in the life includes pre-dive briefing, review radiation maps, define tasks, and rehearse emergency procedures. Suit up, dry suit with integrated chill water lines, helmet, and dosimeter. Underwater work, execute welds, inspections, or concrete repairs. Constant communication with topside. And the post-dive, log dose readings, decontaminate gear, and an after-actions debrief before gearing up again. Key associations and resources include the Association of Diving Contractors International, ADCI, that includes standards, certification, and industry conferences, as well as Diver Certification Board of Canada. That is, if you live in Canada. They recognize qualification pathways for international nuclear diving roles. Next, concrete masonry in nuclear construction. Concrete masons build and finish the ultra-low-permeability, high-strength concrete that encases reactors. Just picture the most massive concrete pour you've ever imagined. We're talking 6 to 8 feet thick. These pours can last up to a day. This could include a massive base-mat pour for a new containment building in Tennessee, or patching a spent fuel pool slab in the Midwest. You'll work outside, in the elements, combating heat, humidity, and sometimes the winter chill. Yet, the thrill of mastering a seamless, football-sized pour is hard to beat. So, who's it for? Shrinkage cracks or improper curing can trigger costly repairs. So, attention to detail and patience with testing are vital. If you love early starts, getting your hands dirty, setting forms, and take pride in precision in your work, you'll thrive in this role. Training and cost. Most training comes through an apprenticeship, 3 to 4 years paid programs. There's also trade school certifications, which can be up to 6 to 12 months and range anywhere from $1,200 to $5,000. The salary range is anywhere between $38,000 and $90,000 per year, depending on your experience. But the average we're finding is somewhere around $54,000. Union versus non-union. Operative Plasterers and Cement Masons International Association, or open shop through contractors. The project lengths can vary. A large pour can be 48 to 72 hours continuously. Smaller forms can last from days to weeks. A typical day, pre-dawn arrival, form assembly, concrete placement, finishing, which includes trowel, broom, and float, monitoring, curing, and QA testing. Key associations are the American Concrete Institute and the International Masonry Institute. Pipe fitting. Fitters are the mechanics of a facility's circulatory system, cutting, assembling, and installing the high-precision piping that carries reactor coolant, processed steam, compressed air, and even radiological service fluids. In a nuclear plant, you might be spooling out long runs of stainless steel pipe in the turbine building of a pressurized water reactor in South Carolina, welding feed water lines in a boiling water reactor in Pennsylvania, or fitting emergency core cooling headers in the Midwest. Every weld and support must meet tight tolerances to withstand extreme temperatures and pressures, and to ensure absolutely leak-tight integrity. Who would thrive in this world? If you like precision under pressure, complex layouts, and somewhat high-stakes environments, this might be for you. You'll find that misaligned threads or improper welds can delay multi-week outages. You'll have to interpret isometric schematics and navigate congested mechanical rooms. And you'll be working near radiation-controlled areas with strict procedure adherence and dosimetry. If you love turning blueprints into three-dimensional puzzles, take pride in millimeter-perfect welds, and aren't fazed by wearing a dosimeter, pipe fitting delivers both craftsmanship and adrenaline. Training and cost. The National Center for Construction Education and Research has a pipe fitting curriculum. The industry-recognized program covers safety, blueprint reading, cutting, threading, welding, and code compliance in 16 modules. It's typically delivered over 4 to 5 years via paid internship. There's also technical schools. These schools can range from 6 to 12 months and can cost anywhere between $1,200 and $15,000. The salary for pipe fitters can range from $62,000 up to $105,000 plus. Union versus non-union? There are structured apprenticeships, journeyman upgrades, and strong benefits if you join a union. There's also open shop, competitive wages, flexible hiring for non-union contractors. Project length. You could be working in outages for 2 to 4 weeks replacing degrading piping, or doing retrofits or new builds, which can include several months to years, often phased around critical path milestones. So what does a day in the life look like? It looks like blueprint review and safety talk, verify pipe sizes, materials, and radiological zones, measuring and cutting using pipe cutting machines or oxy-fueled torches, fit and weld, align, tack, and weld joints, then perform X-ray or dye-penetrant inspections, test and document, pressure test sections, log results, and clean up the work area. Key associations are United Association, as well as the American Society of Plumbing Engineers. Next, HVAC. Nobody thinks much about your HVAC unit until something goes wrong. So imagine calibrating clean room airflow in a fuel fabrication shop or servicing the emergency heat exchangers at a coastal plant. HVAC techs install, maintain, and certify critical ventilation, refrigeration, and climate control systems that keep nuclear facilities safe and compliant. So, who's it for? A leaky HEPA filter can trigger shutdowns. Miswired controls can compromise safety. If you geek out over PID loops, refrigerants, and control logic troubleshooting, and get a kick from making air feel invisible but indispensable, you'll excel here. Training and costs. Again, there are apprenticeship programs for HVAC, 3 to 5 years paid. There's also trade schools and associations, 6 to 24 months. Those can range from $1,200 up to $35,000. There's also other industry certifications that you can obtain. The median salary in the US is $60,000, ranging from $37,000 to $71,000 per year. The main union for pipe fitters in the United States is the United Association. Project lengths can vary. You can do equipment installs for a couple weeks or seasonal maintenance, as well as working ongoing at a plant. A typical day might include reviewing work orders, inspecting controls and ductwork, replacing and repairing components, as well as fixing pressure and balance for the airflow, and completing compliance paperwork. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Naked Nuclear and all of the trades that we talked about. They offer real pathways to nuclear power without a PhD. Training ranges from a few months to multi-year apprenticeships. You can find union or non-union jobs. You can work in the field or in shops, domestic or globally. We'll be providing a link and resource to all the different trades that we've mentioned in this episode today. There's a niche for every skill set and personality. And if you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I did pick trades in water, earth, fire, and air. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Naked Nuclear. If you want to do something for nuclear advocacy, please like and share our episode. Thanks again. Stay curious.